Tigers as Tariq Skubal silenced the Brewers' bats and Tyler Alexander gave up 8 runs in 4 innings. Brewers back at it tonight. We'll try to even the series with Detroit with Quinn Priester on the hill. He'll square off against Jack Flaherty. First pitch is scheduled for 6:40 with pregame coverage beginning at 6:10 right here on Madison's new home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. And some rough news on the injury front for the Bucks and the Badgers as Damian Lillard will miss the start of the NBA playoffs, according to Shams, although the team insists that he's improving. And starting left tackle Kevin Haywood will miss the entire upcoming season for Wisconsin with an ACL injury, according to Evan Flood.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or visit metrokiaofmadison.com.
Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
You gotta keep your chill with Jim, Matt, and Molly.
I am savage.
So you're not special.
Jim, if we want to play this game, we can play this game.
And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's going to swing on Jim. He's a complicated fellow.
People like me.
I don't think so.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
We're learning a lot about each other.
Murr.
It's Murr.
I'm the founder, it's Murr.
Mr. David Deerfield says Naughty Molly rears her dirty mind once again. Let's go with Texas A&M edge Shamar Stewart, the workout, the Underwear Olympics star. Shamar Stewart.
See, so what makes me excited about that is...
Underwear Olympics?
Yes, Underwear Olympics. Actually, Captain Underpants is what I'm going to call him if they do end up getting him.
Perfect.
That'd be perfect.
God, I want that pick now.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison, alongside Molly Brown, here's Jim Rutledge.
It is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We are live from the Everlight Solar Studio. I'm Jim Rutledge alongside Molly Brown. We are presented by Coors Light. If the mountains are blue, you know what to do.
And that's Crush a Coors Light. Oh, Ryan, it's so good to have you.
Aw, glad I could join in today.
Matt Hamilton not joining in today. He'll be back on Thursday. He's in Nashville hanging out.
By the way, are we still keeping track of maternity leave versus Molly maternity leave, or what's the parameters here?
So I don't keep track of it on a show-to-show basis when he's out, but I have ways of going back and checking the records. So if I had to guess, I mean, since you've been back,
he's been pretty good.
He's been very good, and you've had a couple days off since then too.
I have.
I think he'd probably have the edge on you.
I think he does for sure.
Yeah.
But pretty soon here, I mean, not like soon, but I mean, the Olympics are in February next year.
Correct.
So that's less than a year away, which means and I believe they have to fight for a spot in the Olympics now.
So if you're going to get into this, yes. So Matt Hamilton, his team Schuster did not make the Worlds this year. It was Team Dropkin that made the Worlds. Team Dropkin needed to finish in the top 6, or Team USA did, but it was Team Dropkin competing top 6 in the Worlds to guarantee USA a spot in the Olympics next year. So let's say best case scenario, Team Schuster wins nationals. They then have to compete in kind of a mini tournament, and like the top couple teams from that tournament would get the last few spots in the Olympics. So there is a world, unfortunately, where Team Schuster could qualify for the Olympics and then not actually participate in the Olympics.
That's wild.
Yeah, so hopefully that does not happen.
Yeah, not to start the show off on a little negative note. I was just making a point that pretty soon here he's going to be competing.
I'm just surprised at my ability to pull that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good, Jim. Well done, honestly.
Matt says it enough times in a row, and then at some point, I'll start listening.
Well, it's because now you have the incentive of knowing when Matt might be gone so that we can pay off the maternity leave throughout the year of 2025.
Exactly. So the internet has kind of blown up a little bit here, and I want to address it on Jim, Matt, and Molly. I would say it's a little nuanced, but basically Atlanta Braves broadcaster is, I would say, for the majority, I think it's fair to say, now everyone's timeline's different. So, Ryan, you can chime in, or Molly, if yours is different. He's getting ratioed on social media, meaning that, like, for the most part, people are
getting ratioed.
Basically saying what he did in this moment. We're going to show you on the ESPN Madison YouTube stream, so you can fire that up if you are listening on the radio right now. He basically started a segment with a little fun banter. We're going to get into. His name is Wiley Ballard. Wiley is a wild name, but Wiley Ballard interviewing two female fans when broadcaster Brandon Gaulden suggests you should get their phone numbers, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But basically, this is catching fire online that some people, like Olivia Harlan Decker, are calling this harmless or a meet cute. The majority of people online are calling out at a bare minimum the hypocrisy of it, that there are so much, and Molly, I'm not going to take the floor on this. You can after we play the clip, but there's so much vitriol towards any women in sports, just in general. Do you even know sports? They quizzed in sports, they disrespected. I think it's just a mountain that you have to climb to earn people's respect, and it would have been thrown out the window. / I could see some organizations suspending or letting a female reporter go if they did something like this in this setting. And so that is, I think, the biggest leg to stand on here is the hypocrisy of what Wiley did as opposed to what a female reporter could get away with. Our own Chrissy Birdsall pointed this out. This is not how you act. We are going to get to a citing limited poll question because there's this professionalism side of things we can talk about in sports. Isaiah Thomas over the weekend, and I actually, not just because it was LeBron, kind of agreed with Isaiah Thomas about LeBron James warming up without a shirt on. I'm old enough to remember that the NBA used to make all the players wear basically suits to games because now I thought this was too far, where they basically said the clothes were too baggy and they were being unprofessional. There is this line, and COVID kind of blurred it, that hey, you are a professional athlete, you are an athlete, but you are a professional, so showing up in some sort of there should be some sort of baseline of work attire and those sorts of things here. And that's all been kind of blurred over the years, and I'm fine with that. I'm not a very uptight, you got to wear a suit and tie person, obviously. But at the same time, you see it in the NBA, you see it in the NFL. Coaches in the NBA don't wear suits anymore on the sidelines. A lot of those things have kind of dropped. And I'm not saying that's bad or good, but in general, professionalism amongst journalism has dropped, even with the no cheering in the press box. There's plenty of cheering in the press box now.
Is there? I haven't sat in a press box for about 2 years now, so I don't know. Well,
then also you could call, what's the press box? You got all these fan blogs or all these 24/7 sites or all these things. They're cheering for their team. They're rooting for their team. They are kissing the butt of the players to get the access to what they're looking for. So, even if you're not literally cheering in the press box, you are cheering in the press box that is social media.
Right.
Which is, to me, is also, if you are covering that team, weird. I've always said for years that I actually feel lucky that I actually don't have to. It's easier to eliminate the emotion of not rooting for a team than it is to eliminate the emotion of rooting for a team, in my opinion. So the fact that I can be a little bit more objective from afar on a team, I don't have to worry about the mouth breather in the press box. Mm-hmm. I don't want to cover Bear Packer games. I never did because I don't want to be in that situation. Right. But let's get to the clip that I was addressing here, where Braves announcer Wiley Ballard interviews some women who are at the Braves game.
Who do we got here? What's your name?
My name's Lauren.
Lawrence, all right.
And I'm Kayla.
Kayla, and you guys hang out at the rooftop lounge often?
Once a year I come out to visit.
Okay, well, we timed it pretty well. All right, good. How are you guys feeling about rooting for the Braves today?
Oof, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best.
What about you? Are you a Braves fan now?
Not quite.
Not quite. All right, I'm gonna go to work up here, guys. Good luck the rest of the way.
Okay, Wiley. You got 4 innings to get the numbers.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Get us some more Braves fans.
All right, so they want me to get your number.
They want you to get my number.
I'm dead serious. They're saying in my ear right now. She doesn't believe me because she thinks you guys are not. I'm making this up. Even if you guys weren't, I might use that in the future. That's actually a pretty good move.
This is unbelievable.
So the best part of this right now is that Wiley could totally be faking it. This might be the new move. Just walk around with a FanDuel microphone and an earpiece in and convince fans that they're actually on TV.
I should have thought of this years ago.
So, Molly, I'll let you react.
Is it okay? Wiley, the guy who's the guy in the stands.
Wiley. Yep.
Yeah, Wiley. Sounds like I'm saying Riley to my child. He's bad, but is it almost worse from the play-by-play guy? And obviously, the girls in the stands can't hear the play-by-play guy because it's just in the guy's ear. But that guy's gross too, though. That he was the one that instigated it.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot wrong with it. And this is technically the field report and how much of a reporter is Wiley in this situation. Ryan, you probably watch more Brewer games than I do. Former ESPN Madison intern and great guy, Stephen Watson. Is this what is his role? Is it different than this at a Brewers
Stephen
game?
Watson does. I don't think he actually does any sort of fan. I guess it's almost
Do
like a
they even
sideline
have
reporter for baseball. No, he more so does the studio or desk anchoring in the pre games and the post games.
Okay, so Telly Hughes used to do this though. He would
Okay.
talk to fans out there. He would be someone that would be out and about. Not every.
So kind of like what Melanie Ricks would do with Bucks games,
Yes,
a little bit more.
Yes, exactly. And imagine the reaction if Melanie Ricks was just flirting and asking for someone's phone number. She would be called unprofessional. So right there, immediately the double standard side of it.
Totally.
And you're right. The broadcaster asked the numbers thing was bad. And I guess I want to get to our poll question, but my take on this is one. If he wanted to flirt, I don't know how much of a relationship they had. The on-air part of it was fine. When he sent it away, it was fine. It was the, hey, get their numbers, which then instigated something weird. And if all of that was done off camera, and he knows they're on camera because he done references it that they are having this interaction on camera. If that's all done off camera, that's fine. But then he also then takes this interaction and posts the meme of from Good Will Hunting. How do you like them apples? I got her phone number. So now
He's playing into it too.
but it's also a little bit of, from my perspective, this is now a game or your big game hunting. You just took a picture of the big lion that you know what I mean? So now this is more of look what I did, look at me for my unprofessional act.
Right.
And so if it had did just that and he never addressed it on social and it just it would have been less of an issue with him. But the fact that he's in on it, and then some people, mostly men on social, are like, what a king, and all this kind of stuff. I don't understand that side of it. I mean, what are we doing? Women are humans.
To me, I just can't imagine being the girl and knowing that you're on TV. And obviously, if you're not in that capacity or in media in that capacity, you're going to be incredibly nervous that if she's just standing there. Because in the beginning, it kind of sounded like they were just even nervous to talk about the Braves game in general. That then if this guy is kind of pressuring you to give the number, your number, it just feels so awkward. And I can't imagine being on TV as this interaction is happening.
And again, I will go back to the biggest part is and you have to admit, there's a high level of hypocrisy here, because if it was reversed, men would be losing their mind.
Mm-hmm. She'd be getting called all sorts of names.
She doesn't care about the game. She's just there to get numbers or cute guy. So he's not facing any of that vitriol from men. Most rightfully so. Most women and most men reporters who do this professionally. Those who do not report professionally are the ones coming to bat for this. And that's what I want to get into. The last little bit of it, if he had done all this off camera, fine. If he had decided, put the ball in her court. You have to have you have some sort of business card. If you really felt that this was someone you really wanted to interact with more, he's got a job to do. He's at work.
Yep.
He could have been like, oh guys, I won't do that, but we'll maybe we'll catch up with him later in the game or something like that. And then just moved on. Fine. Because this isn't a meet cute. Looks like they had a 30-second interaction. He thinks that she's pretty, so he wants to get her phone number. That's not a meet cute in a rom-com. That's like a meet cute at a bar. I think you're pretty. Let me get your phone number in 30 seconds of conversation. And so if he had left some his number behind, but hey, no pressure. I'm off the rest of the day. Here's my number. Make the decision. Maybe you want to give me a call. And if he did that all off camera, that's a different scenario. I'm not saying the guy can never have an opportunity if you really felt something was there, but the way it was executed was pretty poor.
Yes, to say the least.
Because it just puts her on the spot. It puts everyone on the spot. Right. It feels unprofessional, and that's the side of it that I want to get to. I guess we'll go with in-poor taste, borrowed us from Wilde and Tausch, but is it in-poor taste to ask for someone's phone number while you're at work and they are not at work? That's a very specific line I want to draw there, that you're working, they're not at work.
I'm trying to think of scenarios in my mind.
Or even vice versa.
Yeah.
But 844-770-3776, that's a Carlos Talking text line. List is more. Is it inappropriate to ask for someone's phone number when you're at work and they are not at work? So it's not a coworker's phone number.
Right.
It is someone, and this is one interaction. He is at work. This is his job. This is his profession. And now this is broadcast out. I don't know how many people watch it. Tens of thousands of people are watching this Braves game. And so people are watching this. She's on the spot. he is putting her on the spot. There's a position of power there, but just in general, any sort of work scenario that you're working, like I bartended, I never asked. Now, I'm a good-looking guy. No, numbers were left for me at times.
See, that's where my mind goes.
Numbers were left for me when I bartended or waited tables sporadically, but I never asked because I'm at work and I am there to be somewhat professional. Even as a bartender, I'm not there to get your number. Now, again, if someone comes in a couple times and like that could be a different scenario if like they keep on coming in to come talk to you.
There's a relationship kind of forming, whatever.
If it's a regular or things like that. But in this scenario, this would be the equivalent of like someone comes into the bar, you're a bartender. I'm not going to ask for their numbers. If they ask for mine, maybe I would obviously not now give, but I'm not a bartender. So like, but in that scenario, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But 844-770-3776, is it okay to ask for someone's number while you're working and they are not?
I'm just trying to think of scenarios that I would be in where I'm working but other people aren't. Like my mind goes to our private tailgates, right?
Yeah.
I cannot imagine myself. Obviously I'm married, but like even if I wasn't, I can't imagine ever just crossing those lines because I'm at work. Like I am a professional.
TJ from the road chimes in. Definitely in poor taste. A smoother off-camera move was the only play. And I think maybe he was on his way to that. The broadcaster kind of made it a little bit bigger deal. Maybe he was going to try to get the number, but off the camera and have less of an issue. That's the issue I have is that she's on camera and he's at work and she is a professional and he is in a professional setting. And again, that this isn't being goofy of like for content. This is real life interaction. There's a power dynamic there. It's not sexual harassment. It's not anything major. It's just, it's in poor taste. Without a doubt, it's in poor taste. Does this guy deserve to be suspended? No. Does he deserve, I don't know, but does he deserve to be dragged across the internet? Absolutely. Because he's bragging on it. And to not realize in this setting where it's so hard and everyone wants to work in sports, to not realize that what you did there was incredibly unprofessional. It'd be like someone calling into the show and one of us being like, hey, you sound cute. Can I get your number?
Ugh, gross.
Right?
I would never. Like, it's just weird.
Right. Brett in the Grove chimes in again, shoot your shot, just not on camera. Again,
Cringe.
If he had just left, I agree with that, Brett. If you want to shoot your shot, I just think that we just have to have that fine line of respectfully. And with the camera and with the microphone and all that, it creates a setting where it feels much more like you have to say yes.
Yep. Alex T on our YouTube stream. Remember, you can always watch us on YouTube at ESPN Madison. He says, this is why I would stick to talking about the game. It's more of a street interview than about the Braves baseball. Yeah, gross. There's no situation where I would ever do this. And like, I'm glad that you brought up the bartending or the waitressing, that kind of situation, because that's where my mind goes right away. Is like, okay, you might have a customer do it, but like it's opposite. It's just no.
Haircut.
No, Ryan,
we've talked about the professions of like they're probably not that into you. You talked about being like a host at an ESPN event.
Yep.
That would be another one. You're at work, and again, if you're the host of it and you're trying to then talk to people there, that could create a weird dynamic. If someone's working, let them be.
And also, I would just be nervous because what if you do it to the wrong person who's like really not into it at all, and then they go report you to somebody, and then you get fired for it. You get fired for just even simply trying to give somebody your phone number. Like, is that worth it? No, not in my mind, but maybe it is to this guy. I don't know.
Well, I doubt they're going to end up their journey at Chalmers Jewelers in Madison and Middleton with getting an engagement ring and a custom ring. But if they did see it all the way through, Chalmers Jewelers is the place to go for custom engagement rings, custom wedding bands over at Chalmers Jewelers in Madison and in Middleton. Madison's custom and Madison's family-owned jeweler. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions, securing homes and businesses in the Madison area since 1987.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hi, it's Eric from Canopy Wealth Management. Our years of experience have prepared us to guide you through your life transitions. Our local professional team brings over 90 years of collective experience in the wealth management industry for the benefit of our clients. Canopy Wealth Management. Care, competence, clarity. It's not just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started on your financial future today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
I knew that we were going to be getting engaged soon and needed to do some ring shopping. Heard the radio ads of Chalmers and decided, hey, we should give it a shot at Chalmers.
They were just awesome at accepting us through the door and understanding what she wanted in terms of how she wanted it, and they delivered.
Everybody always is telling me how sparkly my ring is. They tell me that they really like the style of the ring and the setting that it's in. I am ecstatic with it.
Thank you, Chalmers.
Ben Brust here to tell you about Zimbrick European. They're Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, and certified pre-owns. But the best part is I've been working with them since 2018, and the evolution has been a 2-door, a 4-door, and now it's time for an SUV. My life has changed, and it's changed with Zimbrick European. Being a dad has made it really important to have the comfort and the safety that the SUV will bring me. Again, Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Of course, I found the sexiest car on the lot. Check them out.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More, the place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice. All kinds of beers with more reasons for cheers. It's warm out, let's go. Our prices are low on all our beers and wines. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Metro Kia Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
God knows I am reincarnated. I was stargazing. Life goes on. I need her, my babies. Woke up looking for the broccoli. High key, keep a horn on me. That could my seat. IP ownership. The blueprint is by me.
Live listening, show replays, exclusive content. It's all on the brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The Wisconsin sports fans' best way to stay in touch with their favorite ESPN Wisconsin shows and keep up with their favorite teams. Find the new ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores.
She's Molly Brown. I'm Jim Rutledge. We're in the Everlight Solar Studios. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. No Matt Hamilton. He is back on Thursday. Jason Wilde coming up next segment here. We are asking you, is it in poor taste to ask for someone's number while you're at work and they are not inspired by what was it, Wiley?
Wiley Ballard.
Just think of it as Riley, but you're saying it in like a baby voice.
Wild E. Coyote is what I think of every time when I think of Wiley or like I'm a baby. Instead of saying Riley, I'm saying like I'm a baby.
Wiley. Sorry, I won't do that.
Wiley Ballard asking for someone's number on camera while at work. That's why we're asking the question. Erica Madison chimes in, offer a business card if you have one. This is far less intrusive. and then demanding information from someone. I agree because, again, in this scenario, best case scenario, they talk 4 or 5 minutes. Maybe there's a little bit of warm up before they actually cut to them live. Rip and Rona says, one of my friends, a teacher, got asked for her phone number at a parent-teacher conference. Line clearly crossed. Yeah.
God, I couldn't even imagine. Like, literally, you're sitting there with your kid at parent-teacher conferences, and then you say, hey, like, how do you even bring that up? I wouldn't even know what to do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know how to
respond.
respond.
That one is pretty bad. And I guess this comes to, like, if you wanted to take the PG rating of it, of, like, someone has this sort of, like, this idea that we need to have this meet cute, or that, like, there's just this inevitable draw to someone that you have to have their number or their information or whatever. I think that that's a little bit, I guess, the blame on movies. Like, if you're this person and you feel like there's a connection with this teacher, wait for the school year to be done or something. And then you could try to contact them. I still feel like it's weird, but, like.
Also, how awkward for your kid if you're dating their teacher.
Well, especially I would imagine that teacher wouldn't want to date a parent during that kid's school year while they're the parent of that kid. If after the year there is an opportunity to do that, then, like, that's a different scenario. But, like, there's so many wrongs there. Just like in this video we're talking about on the broadcast of he knows when he's not on camera. He could have easily done this all off camera because if nothing else, if Wiley was more self-aware, he would understand that in this scenario, at a bare minimum, even if it's, as Olivia Harlan-Decker points out, of like, harmless fun, or, you're just trying to do a thing for the bit, he should be self-aware enough to know that there is a inherent level of sexism in sports, and the hypocrisy of him doing that is degrading and unfair to all the women that he works with or that he's gone to school with and all that side of it. So even if, like, to be self-aware enough there to say, if the roles were reversed, someone is getting dragged on the internet for what I just did and maybe fired or maybe suspended. And so just having that awareness to be like, I don't need to do this on camera. I don't need to come across unprofessionally. I believe it was less than a week ago, and I don't know the exact scenario. People were all up in arms over a woman interviewing a basketball player, and she was kind of close to him, and she was getting dragged for it. So if she's getting dragged for that and being like, oh, well, some women just want to interview athletes so they can meet them and get married, and she wasn't asking for numbers, but then this guy is literally asking for numbers while he's out now. It's not an athlete.
And he's getting praise for it.
Like, I'm sorry. That's strange. Like, I remember covering teams. It never really even occurred to me because I felt like we were coworkers and it could create an awkward scenario that even if I thought someone, whether a reporter for a different outlet, was someone that was attractive or whatever, I'm not asking, like, we're at work.
Right.
I'm not asking for their number.
And chances are your paths probably cross quite a bit. It's not just like one and done.
Exactly. So that I'm not going to ask for their number. It would have to be well down. Like, you'd have to truly know kind of the idea of, like, don't ask to get married unless you know the answer. Like, I wouldn't ask for that number unless I knew I was going to get it. And really, honestly, unless they volunteered it. So, like, in that scenario, even there, like, it's a professional setting. And also understanding that in this specific world of sports, the sexism and the dynamic difference is big enough where you just have to understand you can't even operate like a normal workplace or normal environment. If you're working at a restaurant and bar and you want to ask someone you work with their phone number, that's different because you're all kind of on equal footing as long as you're not manager and everything. But, like, in this scenario, there's inherent sexism built into it. And so, like, just having the understanding that in this scenario there's so much, like, weight built into it that it's just gross.
Well, and one of the things that Olivia Harlan-Decker defended this with is she said that she was a team reporter and the season is long. Producers are always looking for something different / memorable, ways to involve fans or show some human interest around the game. Most of the interviews are duds, so good on him for having a sense of humor and rolling with it. I'm sorry, but if you're a producer of a sporting event that is all season long, that you have 162 games that you have to cover, I'm pretty sure you can be creative enough to come up with something else.
Right. It was fine until the number side of it. Like, the first bit was fine. A little flirty, sure. That's fine. They were clearly in on the flirting. That was fine. It's the unprofessional nature. And again, how and maybe she never faced this, how Olivia Harlan-Decker doesn't understand there's a double standard for men and women, and Wiley just understanding the double standard exists and just saying, hey, you know what? In this scenario, I'm not going to pursue this. I'm not going to bring to light and obviously shine a spotlight on the giant differential of how men and women are treated in this scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's the part that it bothers me. Robin Madison chimes in. It's 2025. It's all about the clicks. We have people making millions for doing different things and having personal sites. We are in a idiocracy. We are absolutely in that. And maybe she was in on it, and maybe she wants the attention too. It all just felt at a bare minimum. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or something horrible. It just was unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
Or as the younger kids would say, cringe.
Is that what young kids say?
Cringe.
I mean, I'm young, and I'm not young, and I say cringe. So, Ryan, you're the youngest one here. Is that okay to say?
Cringe.
It's still accurate. It's still current.
What was that drop from?
Oh, you were gone when we made that one.
Cringe.
What was cringe that you guys both said at the same time?
Jim, do you remember what was cringe?
I do not.
Was that planned, or did you guys accidentally do that?
It was not. They just did it in unison, and I thought it was perfect.
Amazing.
Cringe. All right, well, we'll ask Jason Wilde about this, and we'll talk some Packers draft, and we'll move to the Green Bay Packers with Jason Wilde. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly.
But I've never seen the movie either.
I've only seen this.
Really?
Yeah, I have no interest in the movie.
Oh my gosh, the movie is terrible. Terribly awesome. Did you just
movie?
touch my butt, Dewey? I know your tricks, Dewey. What? I quote that all the time.
Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
For their accounts payable workflow, Junior Achievement of Wisconsin implemented a document management and workflow automation solution from James Imaging Systems. Junior Achievement Vice President of Enterprise Services, Lori Salzman, highlights the positive impact.
That impact has made it much more streamlined for us to handle the entire process from receiving an invoice to having it paid.
How has streamlining your accounts payable workflow benefited Junior Achievement's mission?
It has allowed us to be more on mission and strategically reach out and expand our impact to be able to reach more students.
If others are looking for workflow automation solutions to better serve their clients or customers, what's your suggestion?
If anybody is looking for a good partner that is there to help find solutions, call James Imaging.
Content management and workflow automation from James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 608-221-3457 or visit jamesimaging.com.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Ready to live the high life at home? Miller High Life is giving one lucky winner the ultimate backyard dive bar experience. It's a cabana complete with classic bar vibes, neon lights, and of course, plenty of high life. To enter, just order a Miller High Life at any participating dive bars in the Madison area and register with the link to the Miller High Life Backyard Dive Bar giveaway. Get a ticket to Dive Bar Glory at your local watering hole, like Whatever Bar, the Dive Inn, the Shed in DeForest, and Old Duffer's Pub.
Chevy Truck Month is back. Get more truck for your buck at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Right now, get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months and $6,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Chevy Silverado. That's right, 2.9% for 6 years. That really is more truck for your buck. But hurry, offer ends on April 30th. Never overpay. Shop Zimbrick Chevrolet. No down payment required. Monthly payments equal $15.15 per 1,000 financed with approved credit through GM Financial.
Get ready for the ultimate Saturday night at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. Join us for the all-new Queen of Hearts drawing at 4, 6, 8, and 10 p.m. This is your chance for royal glory. When your name is drawn, choose the right card and you could win a life-changing jackpot, up to $150,000. The longer the Queen stays hidden, the bigger the jackpot grows. Let's Hard Rock with the Queen of Hearts only at Hard Rock Casino Rockford. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text ILGAMB to 833-234.
Hey, it's John Hayes, owner of Goodman's Jewelers. Come in and discover the high standards, classic traditions, honesty, integrity, and elegance when you walk through our doors. For over 90 years, customers have returned again and again to our warm boutique setting. Trust me, because I've been there for over 40 of them. Whether it's time to come back or your first time in, stop by Goodman's Jewelers at 220 State Street today. Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
Looking to join an international quality golf club right here in Madison? Discover TPC Wisconsin, an instant classic in the heart of the Midwest. With a course co-designed by Steve Stricker and PGA Tour Designs, it's the 13th and newest TPC Network golf club in the world. Other high-quality amenities include a short game practice area, athletic performance center, and meeting and dining facilities. Plus, membership benefits that reach around the globe. Schedule a tour at tpcwisconsin.com and start your journey to a lifetime of priceless golf.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions.
Jason, quick
You
question.
are one of one.
3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year.
Thank you for helping me prove my point, Molly. Because my point. Well, is this Matt Hamilton?
Am I not allowed to know the word filibustering?
I just didn't see that coming. That's all.
Well, good. I want to keep you on your toes.
Jason Wilde is on Jim, Matt, and Molly.
What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with
It is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We are presented by Coors Light. We're in the Everlight Solar Studio. We're thrilled to be joined on the ESPN Madison YouTube stream by Jason Wilde. And Jason, Matt Hamilton's out, so it's just me and Molly today. Primetime Laura Sean behind the glass. And Jason, we have a Big J journalism question for you to start it off. And I know that Ryan asked you to give a chance to consume the video that's gone viral today that's been defended by some, like Olivia and Harlan Decker. But for the most part, people have kind of been against old Wiley Ballard for asking for these girls' phone numbers while at work as a broadcaster / maybe a reporter. What are your thoughts on the whole scenario that broke down that is all over the internet right now?
Well, first, can I ask Molly for her number? Oh, wait, I already have Molly's number, so never mind. I'm good. Cringe. Look.
Very cringe.
Yeah, no kidding. Here's the thing. I would not do this, okay? Mm-hmm. I would not do this. Now, at some point in my career when I was a young single guy, did I go out on some dates with a player I covered? Women's athletics at the University of Wisconsin? I did. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am above reproach. Now, I was 24, not 53, and I was not on live television. Here's where I struggle with this, and I'm glad that Wooly tipped me off to it because and Tausch, I'm sure, will now get after me tomorrow for this because I'm going to hedge.
Rubbish.
Because there's part of me that unquestionably finds it inappropriate, right? And especially the guys in the booth who are egging this guy on. I don't think they were great teammates,
right?
To put him in that spot. So, and when you're put in an awkward spot, I give a little grace to people. I've been in awkward spots before, right? I've asked questions that have been cringy. I've had players react. I've had players think I was someone else at one point and get after me for being angry about someone else's work, which was, then do you throw the other person under the bus? Hey, that's not me. He's over there. Go yell at him. So, and I also think this, I think, and I'm not one of those, you guys kind of know which way I lean politically, although I know people make assumptions about me that aren't entirely accurate. But, I do think that, let's call it the blue team, spent way too much time talking about, whether something's appropriate or not, canceling people or not, and I think that was counterproductive. And so can we just say this was probably over the line, inappropriate for live television and a baseball broadcast, but say, the field reporter's in a tough spot. He kind of followed the lead of the guys in the press box who I'm sure are more experienced than him, right, calling the game, and give the guy a little bit of grace on this. I did find it interesting that Olivia Harlan Decker basically backed the guy asking for the phone numbers. That surprised me as I scrolled through because this is all over. If you go into Twitter and you use the For You side as opposed to the following side, which, by the way, can be a very dark place.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I rarely do it.
But I did it because of Woolie's text, and it is it divides along the lines that you would expect it to, right? Mm-hmm. The bros are, hey, it's great, no problem at all, right? Hey, shoot your shot. And then on the other side, the people you would expect are like, this is totally inappropriate, you shouldn't do this. I'm going to give the young fellas, I would have been, if I'd have been in that position, though, I would have told them that they're giving me a hard time, and I would have thanked them for coming on the broadcast, and I would not have actually asked for the numbers. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they would have offered them up anyway, and then there'd been another story, but...
and with the Wiley Ballard, I'm not like out here to like he needs to be fired or canceled or any of that kind of stuff. You do hope in the moment. I understand where especially female reporters are coming from. The blatant in this scenario, in this job, the sexism is strong. And I saw just a week ago some female reporter was getting killed for standing too close to a player. And women only want to do this so they can meet their husband. So with so much built-in sexism, I can see why the majority of women and just in general, a lot of reporters are like, I get that like he didn't do anything wrong, but you wish he'd be better understanding that he is now played into, because Jason, he also went online and then bragged about it and added to it. But I got the numbers.
That changes the dynamic, does it not?
Right.
I mean, it
yes.
obviously does.
So, like, there's this other side of it of, like, just being self-aware enough to understand that he works with women in sports. There's enough around there that, like, the juxtaposition of how this would have been played if Melanie Ricks did the same thing out at a Bucks game would have been just the whole world, men and women probably, dunking all over her. And so you just wish he had the awareness, but he shouldn't be fired. Nothing horrible needs to happen. It's just more of, hey, this could have been handled better when you're working in a sport that is incredibly sexist.
Well, I would say this as someone who, we're live all the time, right? Yep. And we're always taught to think as if the mic is always on, which when I swear at Jesse, I probably am forgetting that rule, but, sometimes it's difficult. But I would say this, I think we've all had moments, and not necessarily sexist moments or racist moments or anything really crossing the Rubicon, but we've all had moments where we said stuff where we're like, ugh, I didn't handle that very well, or boy, I hope that doesn't catch on, right? And so, again, I did not have enough time to investigate the online chest puffing and what have you. But I would also say this, and I don't know if I told you guys this or not, and Molly, I think the world of you, and I have a ton of respect for the women that I work with, because it is a sexist, male-dominated world. There's no doubt about that. But we went to freshman orientation for Sydney, who's an 8th grader. Maddie's going to grow up to be a marine biologist. She's brilliant. She's got all of Paula's brains and athleticism. She's great. Poor Sydney's more like me. Decent athlete, better athlete than me, but wants to be a sports writer or a radio host or a TV host. She wants to work in sports. And one of the which caught me completely by surprise, because she never mentioned that to me until we went to freshman orientation and we're talking about classes she needed to take. But I think we have to be realistic. And I know, Molly, that you're realistic about this. It's a bunch of dudes.
Yep.
And you have to be ready for that, right? And it doesn't excuse their inappropriate behavior, but you better be ready to deal with it. And I will say this about the locker room. There have been, now this will be season 30 for me, there have been players that have been lewd and inappropriate in the locker room with female reporters. I would also say that during the course of my career, no names to be mentioned here at all, but there have been women who have played into that and dated players and what have you, which undermines, in my opinion, the other women that are trying to do the job the way in a professional manner. It is, but my point is that there's a lot of shades of gray here. We all can agree this is inappropriate. This isn't in a situation like this. Yes, it's inappropriate. He was tough. He was put in a tough spot. I would hope that he would make a better decision afterward and say, that was kind of cringy, not brag about it. But again, the younger crowd is a little different than the older crowd like me. Okay, boomer?
Cringe.
Jason, do want to get into the Packers just a little bit with the NFL draft just a couple days away, which is crazy to say. It doesn't feel like it should be here already. But I'm curious, do you think that there's going to be any movement with Jair heading into the draft? Like, do the Packers already know what they want to do? They just can't yet, and that's going to determine what they do in terms of picking up a cornerback potentially?
So, I good question. I'm still trying to figure out how to get centered in this. This three
it's weird.
thing is really every time I'm trying not to move, then I'm throwing the football. So anyway, I don't think anything has changed significantly, right? There you go, Wooly. Come on screen. Just stand there and watch, and then that gives me more space.
Keep throwing you off. Don't worry. Keep you on your toes.
For those of you listening on the radio, you're like, what the hell are these idiots doing?
You got to watch us on YouTube.
You should. Go to the ESPN Madison YouTube channel right now. So I don't think a lot has changed here. And I saw our buddy Rob Domofsky, who gets frustrated from time to time on social media. He's been reporting, and he's been out front of this story for a while. He's clearly got a connection with the agent and someone in the building. I talked to someone in the building. I told you guys this weeks ago that there's someone higher up the food chain that's like, look, the guy's still a really good player. Mm-hmm. But and my response to them, again, was a 3-word answer: when he plays. Yep. Which is the whole problem here, right? And so I don't think Goody wants to go through David Bakhtiari 2.0, right? I never thought that. And so when he says things like, well, is there a possibility he's still on our team? Yeah, there's a possibility. Again, I've never heard a GM before in my time covering the team say, well, if he's not going to be on our team helping us win, then we need to get something for him because we've invested a lot. I've never heard a player who's on the roster be talked about that way. Like,
it's crazy.
I've heard them say, well, he's on the roster right now, and leave it at that, right? So they don't have to lie or paint themselves into a corner. But in his case, that phrase, to me, has always signified Goody has no intention of him being on the roster. And the only issue is, can they drum up enough interest, which might be why this is in the news cycle again with, as Molly just pointed out, the draft 9 days away. Hey, we want to kind of get the machine going again, right? Because also Jalen Ramsey is now on the trading block. So now they have competition for finding, if you're a team that needs a corner, now there's 2 former All-Pro corners that are going to be available via trade. So I don't think it's happenstance that it's back in the news cycle today. And my point simply is this. I don't think Goody wants him on this team. I think it's posturing to suggest that he does. But the fact of the matter is we can't say that with any certainty that 100% he will not be on that team. And that, I think, is what, where we get into maybe a little bit of trouble as reporters, because we report something, we have our sources, and then people think we're rooting for us to be right. I just want to be accurate, and that's what we try to do around here.
Talking with Jason Wilde on Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. I don't know if you saw this or if it pops up on your radar, but Caleb Williams was on the cover of Esquire magazine, and he had some interesting things to say. One was, hey, the league's too friendly. I don't need to be best friends with every quarterback. That was a little bit hyper-competitive, but this was the part that I thought was a good insight into how much professional athletes care. And I'm sure he's not the only one. I don't know if you've talked to other players about this, maybe Favre, Rodgers, or the quarterbacks, but he was quoted saying about losing in Chicago. He said, I'll be honest with you, I never lost that much. When I got home, I got in my bed and I just dropped tears. I was so beat up mentally and spiritually throughout the year with all the losing that we did. So I wanted to get your thoughts on how open he was about it, but also, have you heard from other players, you don't have to give them names, that they too were physically and mentally beat up, almost to the point, Caleb, to tears with all the losing they did last year?
Yeah, look, first of all, just like fan bases cannot be viewed as one homogeneous group, players can't be either. So there are players at one end of the spectrum, which I was going to do. Hey, Wooly, put yourself back on screen so I can be in a wide shot again. At one end of the thank you. At one end of the spectrum, you got guys that live, breathe, die, hyper-competitive. Like Rodgers is one of them, right? It's the old line about, I think I hate losing more than I enjoy winning. On the other end of the spectrum, now I missed which hand was I using earlier. At the other end, and I've told fans this before, Like, there are guys that, yeah, it sucks we lost, but hey, it's the off season now. I'm going home to Florida, right? And that doesn't make them bad people. That doesn't make them bad competitors, because in the moment they're competitive. But I find a lot of fans wearing losses far longer than the actual players do. They compartmentalize them, and then they're gone. You know, they're as Antonio Freeman famously said, I'm out on the first thing smoking back in like 1998. So the reality is that Caleb Williams, he is hyper competitive, and he's playing for an organization that has only won intermittently at best. Mm-hmm. So I can imagine how that beat him down. So I believe him when he says that. Are there other players that, well, I played well, and they shrug and they go home and say, well, at least I played well. I did my part. Yeah. I mean, again, there's 53 guys plus 16 to 17 on the practice squad times 32 teams. That's a hell of a lot of players. Not all of them are going to care that much. And I think we've also seen, one of my favorite guys that I covered was Eddie Lacy. I love Eddie. A good-hearted guy. His guy Mark Mayfield told me he's going to be in Green Bay for the draft. Well, I never got the feeling Eddie loved football. Like, he had fun playing it, but he could have extended his career longer than he did, and he didn't, right? And so I think you have to remember that not everyone is wired the way maybe your fan base wants him to be wired. And when you have that attitude, I think you have a better understanding of how different guys are in the locker room.
All right, I want to ask this follow-up to it, because part of it being a GM, obviously you're doing all this scouting as far as the physical traits and what they do on the field. But I think in a team I follow last year, like, the players are begging to be held more accountable, and there's a lot of talk afterwards that, like, that locker room wasn't built with the right collection of people who cared and didn't care. And how much, and obviously it's not an exact science when you're a GM bringing in whether it's free agents or draft picks, but how much does that intangible mix of people who care too much and care, like, how do you balance that out? Because I do think that's that sort of, what's the secret sauce? I feel like that could be it, but how do you find that every year? How much do you think that factors in for Goody or any GM?
And that's what good coaches and good GMs do, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have heard Goody say, well, we want guys who love football. And that seems like a throwaway, meaningless phrase. Right? Well, no, blank, as Tausch would say. Of course they love football. That's why they play football. No. Another one of my former Badger guys that I really liked as a person was Erasmus James. Yeah. First-round pick by the Vikings. Didn't love football. Was really good at football, but didn't really love football. And guess what? That's okay. Like, that's fine if that's how you're wired. Go make some money, play as best you can, and then, eventually when it's over, you're like, okay, I'm a really smart guy. I can do a bunch of other things. I think the challenge is putting together a locker room, like you said, within that spectrum of, okay, you don't need the guys that are running through and headbutting the locker with their helmet off and putting a big dent in their locker. And then you got the other guys that are walking out, like I said, from a game and saying, well, I did my part. Too bad our quarterback sucks, or too bad our offensive line stinks. So I will say this. We had an incident, let's be honest, we had an incident like that this past season, right, with Romeo Doubs. Yeah. Like, he was unhappy with his role, doesn't come to work, which had never happened during my time covering the team. There was a tight end who couldn't get to work in a snowstorm because he was in a girls' dorm at UW Green Bay, but that's a totally different story for a different day. But the bottom line is that was a selfish thing to do, right? Jair appointing himself captain is a selfish thing to do. But when those things happen, how does your locker room handle them? And you can say there's a lot of people that take shots at Christian Watson in this fan base, right? And his dad is a little much for me personally. But Christian Watson stood by his teammate, still hyper-competitive guy, acknowledged that Romeo Doubs did the wrong thing, but instead of reacting with anger or I'm hyper-competitive and that's not acceptable, he took a brotherly approach of, hey, this is wrong and here's why, and I'm going to support you publicly so we can get on the same page. And if you have more guys like that in your locker room, the better you are.
Jason, great stuff. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys, take care. Be good.
So Jason always indulges us in some things that are not necessarily meat and potatoes football, but we get a chance to talk to him a couple times a week, so I want to dive into some other parts of it. We can get I would love your guys' thoughts on the Caleb, one, not wanting to be friends with other players, and also the openness about crying and being beat down after games, because I think the more players that give you that insight, it gives you better view into what makes certain players tick. What can make you tick to the absolute best version of yourself would be going to Carbon World Health. You can do the workouts there on the Madison location. You can do cryotherapy, red light therapy. They also have their Sun Prairie location, and the Sun Prairie location and the Madison location both offer hormone replacement treatment. Get back to being the best you, making sure your testosterone levels are the right level for you, not just for your age. Also, they have semaglutide available, the GLP-1 weight loss treatment, FDA-approved treatment over at either their Sun Prairie or Madison location. So whatever it is that you need to get to your best self, go to Carbon World Health. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube. Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by Starion Bank, with 3 Madison area locations in Middleton, Sun Prairie, and Monona. Starion Bank is here investing in your community. Start your experience at starionbank.com. Member FDIC. Strong up front. Wisconsin's new offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes putting his O-linemen to the test. The Badgers OC joining Wilde and Tausch talking strategy of making sure his guys on the front line remain accountable.
The ask of them is higher than it has been, but I think they want that, and so they've been really eager as well, and have done a great job. When you do that, you get more of them. No one rises to low expectations. The more you ask of them, I think the more that they'll give.
Everyone is talking about the draft, but you won't feel one from high-quality Pella Windows. Get no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades today at PellaWI.com.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Hey, it's Molly Brown from Jim, Matt, and Molly. I've been drinking ZOA Energy for a while now, and I absolutely love it. ZOA is my go-to beverage when I need a boost without the crash that comes with other energy drinks. It's packed with natural ingredients like vitamin B and C, electrolytes, and has 0 sugar. It fuels my workouts and busy days. I recently had twins, and I have a toddler, so I need all of the energy I can get. Head over to ZOAEnergy.com to find the location nearest to you to pick up some ZOA for yourself. ZOA Energy for balance and drive.
Hey, it's Riley Yauk. Stay in the know on area high school sports and follow ESPN Madison on social media for Prep Mania on Deck, each week's preview for the top games and events. Prep Mania on Deck is brought to you by Zimbrick Honda, a proud supporter of high school sports and local communities.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news and stats to placing bets in just a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code JOEQ to get started today. That's JOEQ, Joe Q. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Join the Madison Money Guy, Christian Finfrock, for Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Get the information you need as you plan for retirement. That's Retirement Income Strategies, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Income Strategies, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Professional volleyball is in full swing from here in Madison. Don't miss a second of the action. Cheer on Love Madison Volleyball as they make history with some of the best players in the world. Olympic medalists, NCAA All-Americans, and one of the most talented rookie classes ever. This is volleyball at its highest level. Experience the excitement yourself. Get your tickets today at lovb.com. Volleyball is the next major league.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Metro Kia Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
At Canopy Wealth Management, they are a fee-based advisory firm. They don't just chase commissions, never back gimmicks or instruments that chase single-day returns or put your long-term goals at risk. The team at Canopy creates strategies that are tailored to your needs and goals. Canopy Wealth Management. Care, competence, and clarity aren't just buzzwords. They're a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com. You can start it with them today. That's canopy-wealth.com. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We are presented by Coors Light. The Mountains are blue. You know what to do.
And that's crush a Coors Light.
No Matt Hamilton today. If you missed any of yesterday's show, which includes Matt Miller breaking down some of the players and options with us for the Green Bay Packers, you can listen back on the brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. It's elite. I'll just tell you that right now. It's different than Wisconsin On Demand. You open it up and you have access to customize your own shows and do all that kind of stuff. So fantastic things to do with the ESPN Wisconsin app. I wanted to, and we'll revisit it, and we'll get a little deeper into it on the other side, but today was released from ESPN. Field Yates and Mel Kiper did a 3-round NFL mock draft where the Mel Kiper and Field Yates take turns making picks. And so I wanted to get your thoughts initially. Just give it a grade here, I guess, Molly, if you'd like, on these players. So the players they have projected for the Packers was Field Yates at number 23 has the Green Bay Packers taking Shamar Stewart, an edge from Texas A&M. Matt Miller's NFL comp for him was Daniel Hunter. And I believe Daniel Hunter was a player who was not super productive in college but had the build and then ended up obviously becoming a really good player. But what are your thoughts on Shamar Stewart being mocked to the Packers by Field Yates with number 23 overall?
I mean, I would take a Daniel Hunter light, right? Like, I mean, I would.
Shamar
like,
Stewart.
He was great with the Vikings, but I mean, again, I've said it before. It's not like a sexy pick to me, but if we need it and Brian Gutekunst thinks that there's a place on the team for him and actually thinks that he'll be productive, great. But like we've said before, he's a project. Do we not want another project?
And one important thing to point out about Danielle Hunter, the comparison for Shamar Stewart, Danielle Hunter was drafted in the 3rd round with the 88th overall pick, not 23.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Right. And so then the RAS score for Shamar Stewart is why he's up there. He also has I think it's like a 29% missed tackle rate, which is insanely high. And so
nope, he'll be a Packer then.
Yeah, truly. It really just,
it's all lining up.
But I would say it would be a newsworthy, noteworthy pick because Shamar Stewart is probably one of the more controversial athletes as far as what they do on the field in this draft, and he's probably the best athlete in this draft. The next one they had there, Mel Kiper had at number 54, Jalen Knoll, a wide receiver from Iowa State. I believe he's like 5'10", and Matt Miller had him comp to Khalil Shakur, who played a lot with Buffalo.
Okay.
And so, I mean, for a second-round pick, that's not great. It's not horrible. But what do you think about a wide receiver from Iowa State is Jalen Knoll, the other guy?
That's Goody's sweet spot is getting a wide receiver in the 2nd round, so I wouldn't put it past him.
That's not a bad spot for a wide receiver.
No, but also it would be awesome if the Packers could one day, and I know this is reaching, obviously, because he's a once-in-a-lifetime talent, but Justin Jefferson. Like, could the Packers ever get a Justin Jefferson? Get somebody in the 1st round, which I know this draft class is weak, but my wishful thinking.
McMillan could, I mean, if you want to take not a full-on flyer, Ted McMillan's a guy that seems like he'll be available at 23.
Yeah,
there are red flags with him, but if they click, like he has the physical ability to be Justin Jefferson.
One note, there's multiple reports saying that he was on a pre-draft visit in Green Bay today.
And also, let us not forget that just 2 weeks ago, Brian Gutekunst was the only GM at his pro day.
Correct.
Which, to me, that's a red flag. Isn't it?
A red flag?
So that no other GM was there, that nobody else cared.
Like, nobody else cared enough to be like, oh, this is the guy.
It could just be a timing thing.
Maybe.
I get what you're saying, But I don't know if Arizona has any other draftable players, and if you're not in the area, then
they
maybe
do.
You just don't
I know
swing.
they have another offensive lineman who's like a fringe round one guy this year, but it could just be. I think maybe most teams felt satisfied with their grades on him or their study of him.
Do we think that Brian
eval.
Gutekunst just wanted a vacation in Arizona?
I mean, there's always the thing of sometimes, especially pre-draft visits, you only get 30 of them, so you have to spend those wisely. But you can go to as many pro days as you want. It could also be a thing of the Packers trying to throw the scent off what they might actually want to do.
True.
So
maybe some sneaky moves.
Hopefully, they're just getting our guy Mecca Ibuka,
a professional receiver.
Then Field Yates went back with number 87, T.J. Sanders, a defensive tackle from South Carolina. Had 8.5 sacks last year, I believe. So kind of the opposite of Shamar Stewart. I don't know T.J. Sanders' physical RAS score, but a guy who was productive in college.
So no cornerbacks in the first 3 rounds.
Right. So that's
gross.
That's the wild card there, and maybe that's a miss. But
off the top of your heads, do either of you know what rounds our current cornerbacks went besides Jair?
I know Carrington Valentine was a 7th-round pick. Keyshawn Nixon, I don't
undrafted.
know.
He's undrafted.
Was he undrafted?
And then I believe the other guy, maybe a 4th. The guy Hobbs, they got from
Nate Hobbs, I believe, was a 3rd or 4th-round pick. So he wasn't a low pick, but very middle of the road.
Which I feel like they need to be a lot higher in that position in this draft.
Again, the Packers, worth pointing out, depending on what goes on with Jair Alexander, have a 7th-round pick in Valentine, who's a great value pick there, but he's not could you get by with him as a starter? Yes. Is that what you want?
But he shouldn't be. Yes.
Exactly. You're a great team if he's your backup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like corners are almost the opposite of what wide receivers are in today's landscape, where it's nowadays you can get great wide receivers in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round sometimes. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a 4th-round pick.
Yep.
I mean,
crazy.
Puka Nacua for the Rams, who looks like one of the 10 best receivers in the NFL, was, I believe, a 4th-round pick.
Yep.
Corners, the really good ones are almost always drafted in the 1st round.
Because
I can't think of many who are outside of the top 2 rounds at the very least.
The elite ones for sure. And then because Hobbs was a nickelback, and the Packers have said, we're going to put you outside. This is how you remind me.
We gotta get
Cringe.
We gotta get a drop every time that he says, so-and-so was a nickelback.
Cringe. Not like you. So sorry. All right. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
Outdoor Living Unlimited's showroom on Stoughton Road is absolutely a must-see. Nobody builds a better backyard better than Outdoor Living Unlimited. New deck, outdoor kitchen, screen room, fire pit, and in-ground pool. Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's leader in building the new deck. Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech decking installer. Looking for a backyard hardscape design? Stop by Outdoor Living Unlimited's amazing Madison showroom. Visit our open house on Saturday, April 19th from 9 to 1 p.m. and meet the team. Or visit OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Hey, it's Kelly Sheffield, Wisconsin Badgers volleyball head coach. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlake Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Madison. I'm Ryan Wollersheim, and this is your Sports and Update brought to you by Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's premier roofing, siding, and window contractor since 2002. Visit them at ridgetopexteriors.com. Well, there's a smattering of negative Metro Kia breaking news today for the Wisconsin Badgers football program. Earlier this morning, head coach Luke Fickell announced that projected starting left tackle Kevin Haywood is set to undergo season-ending ACL surgery and will miss the entire 2025 campaign. And then not too long ago, also reports stating that Badgers impact transfer portal addition wide receiver Mark Hamper is expected to re-enter the portal as he came to the Badgers in the winter transfer portal this offseason as a FCS freshman All-American from Idaho. This comes after tight end Tanner Koziel is reportedly planning to re-enter the portal, which opens tomorrow. Head over to ESPNWisconsin.com for all your Badgers football coverage this offseason, and tune into the Jump Around every Thursday with Jim Rutledge and Pablo Iglesias breaking down all your Badgers sports needs. Then, the Milwaukee Bucks also getting some bad news today as Dame Lillard will officially miss the start of the playoffs per Shams Charania. That is with his deep vein thrombosis, his blood clot. Bucks take on the Pacers this Saturday.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
You gotta keep your chill with Jim, Matt, and Molly.
I am savage.
So you're not special.
Jim, if we want to play this game, we can play this game.
And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's going to swing on Jim. He's a complicated fellow.
People like me. I don't think so.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
We're learning a lot about each other. Jim's an onion. You got to peel back the layers to get to the good part.
Is there a position, is there a player that would have you, get you excited, get you pumped, get you to like stand up and go, yeah! I mean, there are, I think, some players that I do think will make Packer fans say, yeah! And others say, what?
Dad, you're
And some will say,
now.
okay. So,
Oh my God.
you can chime in on who's your okay, who's your what, and who's your yeah pick.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Alongside Molly Brown, here's Jim Rutledge.
Yep. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We are presented by Coors Light. If the mountains are blue, you know what to do.
And that's Crush a Coors Light.
Jim Rutledge with you alongside Molly Brown in the Everlight Solar Studio. No Matt Hamilton. He is back on Thursday. Primetime Lorisheim with us as well.
You were going to say he's back on maternity leave. I was like, savage.
Importantness.
We are going to get to prospecting the Packers, but we're going to do that next segment here. We want to explore a little bit deeper, and you can chime in on the Carbos Talking text line, 844-770-3776. This is more. Basically, the Green Bay Packers and their biggest need with the NFL draft. So we're going to post a Siding Unlimited poll question. Do the Packers need to draft a QB in round number 1?
A CB.
What did I say, QB?
You said QB.
Cornerback. Do they need to draft a cornerback?
Tell us what you really want the Packers to draft, Jim. You scared of Jordan Love? I know.
I am not.
So you can tell Rutledge that.
Do the Packers need to draft a cornerback in round number 1? That's what I want to get into. 844-770-3776. That's our Siding Unlimited poll question. Do the Green Bay Packers need to draft a cornerback number 1? And since we had Matt Miller on yesterday, and you can listen back with the ESPN Wisconsin app, Apple, Spotify, and those great places, I want to get to Matt Miller. He had a ranking of the top 600 players, and he has them broken out by positions as well. So I'm going to kind of give you some options for the top 10 cornerbacks here that could be available, some more likely than others to be available, Molly Brown. But just on the question initially, do you think the Packers need a cornerback in round 1?
Round 1 is tough. I've said it before. I think of the two positions that I would want the Packers to draft in the first round, I guess it probably would be cornerback or wide receiver. And again, that's just for my own selfish reasons. I mean, obviously those positions are in need, in my opinion, but I don't know if they need to draft in the first round. I would say within the first 3, yeah. I'd feel comfortable with them doing that. I wouldn't be mad at it.
But what about Ryan's point, which is a strong one, that
pretty much all the best ones get picked in the first round?
Yeah. Or second, like elite corners.
I mean, look at Jair. He's, again, the perfect example. Like, he still is a good player if he plays. Like Jason Wilde was just saying, when he plays, he's a great player. So, and we all know he was picked in the first round. So it's like, okay, that would be fantastic if you do end up getting another Jair player, because they do need that. They are lacking that. They're lacking that intensity, that excitement on the defensive side of the ball. So, you know what? I'm changing my mind. Cornerback, first round. That's it.
It is a premium position.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it, if they lose Jair Alexander, they are losing one of their most explosive players at a premier position. I know he doesn't play all the time, and that's obviously why they're looking to maybe move off of him. But when you look at it, Hobbs at best is what, maybe a B? And we're projecting, like, his best case scenario, he'd be a B at outside corner.
You're basically hoping he can be what Rasul Douglas was when they signed him off the street and he came in and he was a really high value cornerback 2 behind Jair. Yeah.
Right, yes. And then, but again, Hobbs, you're making a jump from nickelback to an outside corner.
Cringe.
Because Hobbs will give benefit out. With Nixon and with Valentine, if they're gone tomorrow, I mean, Nixon's got the return side of things, but like if they're gone tomorrow, the defense is not remarkably worse. You could replace them with, they're just guys. And so, as Nixon as a defender is just a guy. Right. Valentine's just a guy. You can do worse, but there's a lot of opportunity to do better. So in theory, Hobbs very well could be just a guy. So you might have your entire secondary full of just guys, and your pass rush is suspect right now. So all of a sudden, you could have a recipe for disaster. You could have a terrible defense because your pass rush with Lucas Van Ness has not lived up to what he was going to be as that first-round pick. Rashawn Gary has not lived up to his contract or his first-round pick status. He's a good player, but he has not lived up to it. Kenny Clark is coming off a down year for him.
Yep.
And overall, the team addressed, they said they needed to add pass rushers. They didn't do anything in free agency. So a pass rush is another time where a lot of times those players, then you're drafting the traits, you're drafting the physical side of it, so that could be another thing to look at. But right now, cornerback is a position the Packers could have an impact into. And maybe it is a matter of, and we could take a quick glance here, kind of just eyeballing mock drafts. Let's see who might be available for the Green Bay Packers. We're asking you our signing limited poll question. Do the Green Bay Packers need to draft a cornerback in round 1? So Matt Miller has the asterisk here. Travis Hunter would be number 1 corner. If he plays wide receiver, he's the number 1 wide receiver. He's another one corner.
All they have to do is give up Jordan Love for him.
Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. He is, I would say, a blue-chip player, probably the only blue-chip corner in this draft, and he does have some injury concern, but I think in general, he's the blue-chip guy. It's not, like the Packers, I don't think, maybe have to jump 10 spots to go get him. I don't think he goes higher than like 13. So then you have, but at the same time, you could see a team just being like, you know what, he's a blue-chip player in a draft full, not a blue-chip player, so I'll just take him. Jahdae Barron from Texas, I would say is not a blue chip, but a very highly thought of prospect. Maxwell Hairston, he's the guy that runs like a 4.2 40, incredibly fast. And then I would imagine Trey Amos has already passed the first round guy. I would say Hairston is the last guy that would be a first round pick, most likely, at least for the Green Bay Packers. So you have Jahdae Barron from Texas, Will Johnson, a blue chip guy from Michigan, and Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. Any one of those three, just feel like you got to have them.
I mean, I know that I've seen the guy from Kentucky tossed around quite a bit going to the Packers, so I mean, fine, I guess.
I mean, Jair went to Louisville.
Yeah.
Just down the road from Lexington. Kind of seems to fit Goody's blueprint, maybe? Who knows?
Very true.
SEC?
Yeah.
Dog. Some pass rushers that could be available. And I guess I'm going to go on the outside. I guess we'll go some on the inside. Mason Graham will be long gone. Derek Harmon is a defensive tackle from Oregon. I don't know what kind of pass rush he provides. Walter Nolan is an interesting prospect. We're going to get to him in prospecting the Packers. Kenneth Grant is probably the last guy there. Maybe a Joshua Farmer who would be taken in the first round. But Walter Nolan and Kenneth Grant are the guys most likely available for the Green Bay Packers there. I've seen some mocks with Derek Harmon, but I don't know if he falls that far.
From what I've seen of Derek Harmon is that he's just like an all-around super sturdy player, but not like exceptional, but just really solid. Kind of the same as you mentioned Jahdae Barron too.
Yeah.
He's seen as like an undersized corner who has like a lot of great intangibles, a little more like the nickel corner, the nickel back one might say.
Cringe.
For the Lions, Brian Branch.
Okay.
Similar type role of that where probably not that number 1 outside corner at the end of the day.
See, but I would take Brian Branch.
Brian Branch, you would for sure.
He could.
But he's more like the safety. He's not quite the corner, really, right? He's kind of feeling like what the Keyshawn Nixon role is right now.
Yeah,
or not Keyshawn Nixon, Javon Bullard.
Well, I think he's better than him, though.
Yes.
Joe Madison drinking too many Coors Light. No, if they draft an edge rusher in the first round, that'll make QB1 Nixon an All-Pro. I don't. If they're rolling with, like, I'll say this as a Bears fan, if you're rolling with Keyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs on the outside, I'm excited because Keyshawn Nixon wasn't good on the. He's fine, but like, if the Packers thought, it's like if you would have invented Facebook, you would have invented Facebook. If the Packers thought he was good enough to be an outside corner, they're not just holding him back.
If they thought he was good enough to be an outside corner, they would have released Jair by now.
And they wouldn't have paid Nate Hobbs $48 million.
Now, I am curious, you guys, because Jason did talk about this guy briefly. Jalen Ramsey most likely played his last game with the Miami Dolphins. Do you think there's any chance? And I know he's 30. Nope. I know it's crazy.
Nope.
I know he's too old for Goody.
You're crazier than Joe and Madison.
Is there any chance that he comes to the Packers?
No.
Why? He played 17 games versus Jair's, 7?
The Packers aren't trading for him.
I believe I saw there's still like a $25.1 million cap hit on his contract, too. So, I mean, financially, you could probably make it work. But, yeah, Goody with the age, with the financial compensation.
I'm not saying I would want him. I'm just asking the question. If the question is there, would you rather have him or Jair on your roster?
If you're asking that question just in a vacuum, who would I rather have next season? I would take Jalen Ramsey.
Really?
I've been in love with Jalen Ramsey for a long time. I think he's like the all-around perfect corner.
See, I always thought he was overrated, and maybe this was just because I was a Devontae fan, and Devontae is just so good that every time that'd be the talk of the week was, oh, Devontae and Jalen Ramsey are going to go head-to-head this weekend. It's going to be an awesome battle. And he sucked compared to Devontae. Like, Devontae was crazy, just always beating him. Always.
But I even think then it was like they would very uniquely scheme up ways for Devontae to get open against him and to like beat him with like pre-snap motions and pre-snap formations more than just beating him off the line, right? Like, and even then, the fact that you have to have that conversation every week shows that like this is a guy who other teams and offensive coordinators think about.
Fair.
Which like Jair was that at one point. I just don't think he is anymore, even when he's healthy, I would say. I don't know what you guys think.
I agree.
It's hard for me to say.
It's been so long since he's been a healthy, consistent player that I don't think teams are
his last full season was in 2022. Was there only 16 games in 2022, I think?
No, there's still 17 at the time.
So he missed one game that year.
Yeah. So, it's just, I think Jalen Ramsey still has that premier corner in him, whereas I don't see it with Jair as much anymore. But yeah, the idea of him actually coming to the Packers is as much of a fascination as Trey Hendrickson.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
It is. I love the idea of these guys being on my team, especially Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know realistically that's never going to happen.
It's like ludicrous. What's your fantasy? You want Trey Hendrickson on the edge, or you want Jalen Ramsey on the island on the outside? Neither are happening.
I'm a nut.
Yeah.
One can hope.
All right, we're going to do prospecting the Packers on the other side, but you have a contest here.
Yes, your state, your teams, your ESPN, the brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Download the app today for your chance at an all-inclusive private tailgating experience during day 3 of the draft in Green Bay. Open up the ESPN Wisconsin app. You scroll all the way down to the bottom. Check out the contest tab and register for your chance to win. That's the ESPN Wisconsin app. Get it today. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly.
We don't speak about
Speak
her.
about rivals.
We are not rivals. Yeah, me and Kay are not on the same level in the same sense that Matt thinks that the Bears and the Packers aren't on the same level.
Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
Cheesy Bites Pizza is back at Pizza Hut. For only $13.99, you get a large pizza with 28 pullable, poppable, cheese-filled bites. Plus, it comes with Pizza Hut's very own Ranch Lovers Flight, featuring 3 bold dips: Ultimate Ranch, Chipotle Ranch, and Pepperoni Ranch. 1 large pizza, 3 dips, endless flavor. Ready to dip into deliciousness? Well, hurry. It's only available for a limited time. Head to a Pizza Hut location or order online at pizzahut.com today. Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Junior Achievement of Wisconsin has had business technology from James Imaging Systems for several years. Lori Salzman, Vice President of Enterprise Services, explains why.
We started with the document imaging, and I have to say that the service and support has been fantastic.
James Imaging Systems, a 100% Wisconsin-owned and managed business technology company.
I've never met an organization that is so responsive to make sure that we are up and running all the time for us to be more efficient and allow us to focus more on the work that we do for helping young people.
Lori, what's your recommendation to others that aren't getting that kind of attention from their business technology company?
Please call James Imaging because they will work with you to make sure that you find a solution that can make you more efficient and productive.
Make the call 608-221-3457 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Live the high life at Nitty Gritty, home of the famous Gritty Burger and Madison's official birthday place. Celebrate your birthday at Nitty Gritty and receive a free memento birthday mug to fill with free beers, specialty birthday cocktails, or soda all day long. The Nitty Gritty has celebrated almost 900,000 birthdays, and birthday celebrant number 900,000 will receive a $1,000 Amex gift card. Grab some friends and celebrate your birthday at the Nitty Gritty, located in Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The Nitty Gritty, a tradition since 1968.
Ben Brust here to tell you about Zimbrick European. They're Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, and certified pre-owned. But the best part is I've been working with them since 2018, and the evolution has been a 2-door, a 4-door, and now it's time for an SUV. My life has changed, and it's changed with Zimbrick European. Being a dad has made it really important to have the comfort and the safety that the SUV will bring me. Again, Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Of course, I found the sexiest car on the lot. Check them out.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for Kohler Services. Well, if you think your shower is one of the ugliest in Wisconsin, upload a photo to goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contest for a chance to win a free shower remodel. Yes, you heard me correctly. One lucky fan will win a free shower remodel from Kohler Services, including a design consultation, demolition, and removal of your existing shower or bath, and installation of a brand new Kohler Lugstone shower. goodkarmabrands.com/Wisconsin contest for your chance to win.
After a serious accident, you'll need a winning team to protect your rights. Trust Wisconsin's own Ruger Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions.
35 years, J&K has been Madison's trusted name in security. Whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, they're your one-stop shop for all things security. From cutting-edge intercom systems for your office to simply replacing that old lock on your front door, they've got you covered. With a network of top-tier suppliers, they create customized solutions tailored just for you. At J&K, customer service is their top priority, and your peace of mind is always their mission. Visit them today at JKSecurity.com and experience the J&K difference. Your home, your business, their priority. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. Matt Hamilton back on Thursday, but we're going to prospect some Packers.
Draft day is almost here.
Here comes Roger Goodell with Green Bay's pick.
The Green Bay Packers select.
So will this draft class make a pop?
Jair Alexander.
Jordan Love.
Edgerrin Cooper. Dog.
Or just flop?
Eric Stokes. Lucas Van Ness.
Amari Rogers.
God damn it!
It's time to prospect the Packers.
All right, the prospect I am bringing to the table for prospecting the Packers.
Sorry, Jim, to cut you off. I did not set this up properly. I want to, let's say who the two players we are prospecting today. It's going to be Walter Nolan, who you'll be presenting, and Jordan Birch. Walter Nolan, the Ole Miss defensive tackle, Jordan Birch, the Oregon defensive tackle. And we're doing these two because per Matt Schneidman, these two are both up in Green Bay for pre-draft visits earlier today.
Juicy.
Along with, I mean, maybe they caught a flight with Ted McMillan. I don't know. Do you think they carpool from the airport? Do you think they pick them all up together?
I think the Packers are a better organization than that. That's a small thing
that's financial savviness.
That's like old school like stories when you hear Mark Chmura talk about how the Packers were, that it's like cheap things like that. I don't think that's how they're running it anymore.
All right, yeah, you're probably right. They probably have their own taxi service in Green Bay.
They probably do. Specialized car service. But Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss, number 20 overall player in the NFL draft, according to Matt Miller. His NFL comp is Ed Oliver. Walter Nolan, 6'4", 296, number one recruit in the country coming out of high school. I do like that in general. That's Rashawn Gary, though, but he was more productive, Walter was, in college than Rashawn Gary. He's powerful and quick. Needs his technique. He needs to get better on his technique, but he's a guy that right now is very successful because he's powerful and he's quick on the interior. Could be a future replacement for Kenny Clark, but a guy this year immediately could help the Green Bay Packers. Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss, number 20 in Matt Miller's top 600 players.
Number 20, okay.
So, Molly, initial reactions to Walter Nolan, what do you think?
Okay. It seems like it's like...
Okay!
That was perfect. Okay.
What? Okay.
I can't do it as good as Jim. They need it. I think, like Jim was saying, I like the idea of potentially taking over for Kenny Clark when he's done, because I do think that his days are numbered in Green Bay, even though it feels like he just signed a large contract extension just a couple of years ago, last year. 2 years ago. I don't know. Seems like somebody like Goody would get. Am I picking from my perspective, right? I'm drafting my own team, or am I pretending to be Brian Gutekunst?
You are Molly Gutekunst. You are picking based off what you think you would do if you were the Packers GM.
I think Brian Brown sounds better, but it's okay.
We'll go with Brian Brown.
Okay.
Brian Brown does roll. Okay.
That is a good name. Okay. Give me your guy.
So the one I'll present to you is, as I mentioned, another defensive tackle, but this guy, Jordan Birch from Oregon. And it's pretty clear Goody has a type because he was also a former top 10 overall recruit coming out of high school.
Okay.
But he isn't quite as young. I believe he's born in 2001, so he's going to be 24 his first year.
So Goody's
going
to cut him before his first contract.
Yeah, quite honestly. Yeah, he's never going to resign.
There's not the longevity there for sure.
Not at all. Not at all. But he does fit his type still because while he played at Oregon his final 2 years, started his career in the SEC, played for the South Carolina Gamecocks, so he has that obvious top 10 recruit body physical traits. Now, it does say here, and I'm actually reading this from Dane Brugler's The Beast Draft Guide at The Athletic. I do really like the work Matt Miller does too, but
how dare you?
I try to sample multiple different analysts, so I'm trying to bring in different.
I'll give you insight into it. So Miller does, I think, 50 players. So once I got past the 50, I had to kick over to the Beast.
Yes.
But I decided to stick with Miller to the 50.
Yes, exactly. And Jordan Birch in Matt Miller's rankings is 74, whereas in Dane Brugler's rankings, he's 54. So definitely in the second round range, actually right at the range of where the Packers will be picking in the second round with the 54th overall pick. So he could be right there for him, and he could be a solid value pick for them because it does say that he's a bit of a one-trick pony who creates pocket push with power. Sounds a little bit like Rashawn Gary there.
Pressure.
But he has the athletic traits to be more if he improves his setup and secondary moves. He needs to be more explosive with his hands and shed blocks in the run game, though he showed some overall improved awareness and finishing skills in his final season at Oregon. Smooth edge rusher with the defensive tackle's frame. Brugler thinks he will never be a star in the NFL, but he has high floor talent with NFL size, power, and movements. Projects to be a player like John Franklin Myers, who played for the Jets for multiple seasons and the Eagles, I believe, actually, over the past couple seasons. He's just a guy who will probably, not just a guy, but he's a player who will be a solid interior component of your pass rush. But no, he's not going to probably even reach Kenny Clark heights, whereas Walter Nolan, definitely the more the high floor pick, as Jim was pointing out, that, also a former top 10 overall recruit, but shows real flashes in the pass rush and physically tracking down players from behind in the running game.
So I'm curious, in your Beast,
Yes,
the
the
Beast, where does Nolan rank then? Because Jim just said Matt Miller has him going 20.
Well, no, 20th best prospect.
20th best prospect. Gotcha. So I'm just curious where that compares to what he would be in your encyclopedia.
So in my encyclopedia, the Beast, Walter Nolan is the 31st overall ranked player and the 4th rated defensive tackle.
Gotcha. Okay. If I'm Brian Brown, I think I'm going with Jordan Birch. Just because when you started describing that he's not necessarily going to be a star in the NFL, he sounds to me kind of like the perfect Packer project. That's the vibe I'm getting. So
let's go.
I think I'm going to go with him. Also, I like Oregon. I like Oregon guys.
Really?
Okay. I'm not trying to sound like I'm the reporter at the beginning of the show that we were talking about, but I like Oregon guys. Big Ten, I like it.
Oh,
you and Jason Wilde.
Okay.
Love it.
She pulled out the Big Ten connection. She's wearing her Iowa crew neck today.
Exactly.
The old school Big Ten.
Also, when they were in the Pac-12, I did go to quite a few Oregon games back in my time when I lived in Arizona. So
you have mentioned you were a big Marcus Mariota fan back in the day.
No, I actually hated Marcus Mariota because he was so damn good.
Oh, because you're an Arizona
Because he would just
fan.
run all over Arizona all the time. He was
Okay.
insanely fast. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Fun football to watch, though. So.
Oregon also not really known for defensive players either. That's an offensive player.
I mean, look
player
at some of the
factory.
games that they had this year. Insane amount of points that they put up.
Their defense was good though too, and Birch was a big reason. But the reason that if I was Brian Brown or if I was, I don't know, Matt Wollers or Brian Wollersheim, I guess we could do as well.
Ryan Gutekunst.
Ryan Gutekunst. That's a great point. Actually, that should have hit me way sooner. If I'm Ryan Gutekunst, there's no way I'm taking Jordan Birch. Just 'cause
really?
I think 24.
Too old?
No, I think he likes players who he thinks that he can mold them. He can fix them. He can make them better and long-term investments. Like, he does see them as a little bit more of like a spreadsheet than he does actual prospects, I think, sometimes.
Fair. Good point.
Jim, if you were picking, who would you take, though?
Nolan, because I don't hate him for the Bears even at 10.
Ah.
I've seen him all over the place.
10.
Stewart, like Nolan, is one of those guys. Shamar Stewart's another one there that could be a 10, could be in the 20s. Like, it really is eye beholder. But I could see Matt Miller actually reported that the Bears could package some of their second-round picks to move back into the first round to get a specific defensive interior player. So I could see them going with Tyler Warren or Ashton Genty in the first round, their 10th overall pick, and then moving up to get a guy like Nolan or Stewart if they fell.
That's what seems to be so interesting about this draft is, like, it feels like so many of the guys that we're talking about, there's such a wide range of where they could go. Like, I feel like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like even in the past 2 years, it feels like it was pretty defined of, like, these guys are top 10 guys, these guys are teens, these guys are the late 20s. I mean, Jordan Morgan notwithstanding, who knew he even existed before the Packers drafted him?
The NFL, the Athletic did a redraft, and Jordan Morgan did not go to the Packers in the redraft.
Who did the Packers take?
It was an offensive lineman.
Was it Graham Barton?
No. Here, I can try to think. I'll get it to you on the other side because it was interesting. Chicago, all they did there, they flipped Caleb and Daniels, so it wasn't like Caleb fell off a cliff there when they did the redraft as well.
They had him taking Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, instead of Caleb Williams. Well, I mean, the year that Daniels had, you really can't argue with it.
Right.
I still think the Bears are going to be fine with Caleb there, but it was a fun little thing that the Athletic did. I'll see if I can find the actual player they picked. It was an offensive lineman. He had multiple, like a hyphenated name. Good player for the Raiders. He was picked later.
Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yes. There you go.
I remember. We did a lot of prospecting the Packers last year. I remember these names.
I think I would have taken that over Jordan Morgan.
These names of prospects just stick in the back of my mind like flat, like geography quizzes in like fourth grade.
Yeah, the name, I could give you all his measurables. I just couldn't tell you the name. So, that was the guy. So we will throw some stones next. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly.
Come on, Matt. You're the fantasy football guy.
Yeah. I know, but like we're pretty far removed from fantasy last year. Like,
and honestly, you're into tight ends. Like, I knew how that was going to sound before I said it, but I didn't mean it like.
Okay.
Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Ready to live the high life at home? Miller High Life is giving one lucky winner the ultimate backyard dive bar experience. It's a cabana complete with classic bar vibes, neon lights, and of course, plenty of high life. To enter, just order a Miller High Life at any participating dive bars in the Madison area and register with the link to the Miller High Life Backyard Dive Bar giveaway. Get a ticket to Dive Bar Glory at your local watering hole, like whatever bar, the Dive Inn, the Shed in DeForest, and Old Duffer's Pub.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see the teams recognized for making a positive impact in the community. It's the Game Changers of the Month, presented by Zimbrick Honda.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo at the Bridges. On Saturday, May 3rd, play in a 2- or 4-person scramble for $120 per person. Includes 18 holes with a cart, prizes, and a Mexican feast. Find more details at golfthebridges.com today.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
The sports calendar is heating up, and with ESPN Bet Sportsbook, you can go from checking news to stats to placing bets in a couple of taps. Stream games, bet live, and get exclusive offers when you link your ESPN account. Right now, you can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Quarterback Jordan Love isn't just on the Packers. He's also on the American Family Insurance Team. Because like us, he believes in dreaming fearlessly.
Just chase your dreams and don't let nobody hold you back.
And we help protect those dreams with the right coverage so you can
dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
He's coming out, 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 he's coming out. It's there.
You remember the moments from that magical March back in 2015. Frank Kaminsky leading the charge for Bo Ryan and Wisconsin in a run to the championship. Relive it all with Made 'em Believe. On June 26th, join Frank, Sam Decker, Coach Bo Ryan for an intimate night at the Orpheum Theater in Madison to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. Tickets are now on sale at uwhoops2015.com. That's uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe, June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. Want to get a check of the YouTube comments. Alex T chiming in saying that Jair Alexander is going to be released. And he also says he checked online and says that Kenny Clark has 2 years left on his contract, because I was asking that question just a little bit ago.
I appreciate that, Alex. That means he probably has 1 year left, and the idea the Packers probably can get out of most of his money after this upcoming season. I haven't done the full details, but that's usually the case. That last year in an NFL contract for a vet,
which
is usually no guaranteed money in it.
Are you
I'm
really
good.
like you're done with Kenny Clark just like that?
He's fine.
Really? I think he's better than fine.
I mean, he's good, but like, get new talent in there.
Wow.
Now you sound like Brian Brown. You sound like Goody.
Ryan Gutekunst, why aren't you on the same page as me, Ryan?
I'm the more sentimental side of Goody, which maybe doesn't exist.
I don't think that exists, actually.
No, not really.
Yeah, so after the 2026 season, so he'll have this year. There's a potential out after this year. He would have a $17 million dead cap because he has 2 years left after 2025. Otherwise, you could cut him after 2026 for just a $7 million dead cap.
Is that just a position that doesn't get enough love?
I think so, yeah. Interior D linemen and just offensive linemen, just by nature, they don't get recognized enough. Unless you're like Aaron Donald or, not Walter Nolan, but the D tackle for the Eagles.
Jalen Carter?
Jalen Carter. I don't know. Their names aren't that similar. I don't know why I couldn't get them figured out.
I only know it because he could have been a Bear.
Yeah.
They got Darnell Wright instead. Darnell Wright's a fine player, but Jalen Carter. It's one of those things, though, like he had some of the off-the-field stuff, and I don't know if he would have been as locked in as a professional player if he had gone to Chicago. Especially that team was incredible. That team was the team after they blew the whole thing up. So like Justin Fields would have been his second or his first full season as a starter, and that team was very young. And I feel like sometimes those guys who have some character issues going to a team that is more veteran laden can lead to better success for those guys. And sometimes throwing a young guy with maybe some off the field stuff into a young locker room can lead to problems.
Fair.
All right, let's throw some stones.
1, 2, 3,
Some takes are cooler than others.
You know this kid is as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Some opinions are just cooler than the rest.
That was cooler than being cool. Ice cold.
And if you keep it chill, then it's a cold take.
Chill out. I'm chill. I'm chill as a cucumber, man.
I'm always the coldest.
This is Throwing Stones, presented by Metro Kia Madison, Madison's chillest Kia dealership.
So we brought it up a little bit earlier with Jason Wilde, but Caleb Williams was featured in Esquire magazine. Interesting piece where it does talk about how he's currently in, I think, Denmark. His girlfriend is from that area. She's
interesting
in college out there, so he's spending some time out in Denmark. They dated some in high school in D.C. and then kind of reconnected a couple years ago. But he had a couple interesting things to say. So, Molly, I just wanted to get your thoughts on these two of the most quotable things football-related from the actual article. One of them was that he talked about, we brought it up with Jason Wilde earlier, that Caleb said that after games during the year that he was broken down mentally, spiritually, and cried after some of those games. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, to me, it shows that he cares, right? Like, I think that's the biggest thing, and that's kind of what Jason Wilde was saying earlier, but, like, he cares about the team. He wants to win, which I think if you're a Chicago sports fan, you should be praising that he does feel this way, that he's not just like, okay, we lost, what'd they lose, 10 games? 11 games? Something like that?
5 wins, so
5-12.
5-12.
Okay, so wow. So 12 losses? Yeah. Sorry, Jim. I'm just realizing that's a lot of games to lose. But also, I think probably part of his tears were because so many of those losses weren't his fault. Like, granted, he didn't play great in every single game in every single quarter, but there were multiple times, and we've talked about it on this show, there were multiple times that he led the team down the field. The rest of the team just didn't do the work, like their job. So, like, I think
the coaching staff specifically, he does talk about how the way the coaching staff reacted to the Washington failure really lost the team immediately.
Really?
Like, the way that he does reference to the way that the coaching staff talked to the team afterwards.
Does he specify, like, what they said or not really?
It was more of like, hey, this is. It was just kind of like, hey, this is okay, and the players wanted the moment of like, they needed to have basically chastised for how much they screwed up. You know what I mean? Like the coaches just, and that was a theme from Chicago. The coaches just wouldn't hold the players accountable. And when you're a professional athlete, you do want to be held accountable for, or at least your teammates to be, or feel like everyone's being held accountable. The next thing here, he said, I think the NFL game has become very friendly, and I don't necessarily want to be friends because I want to keep that competitive advantage. And so he was talking about not wanting to be friends with like all the QBs in the league.
So he doesn't want to go to like Dubai with Jordan Love and Justin Fields, right? Wasn't that where they went recently?
Yeah.
It
reminds me a lot of Derrick Rose with the Bulls when they he didn't recruit any of the players. He wouldn't recruit LeBron or Dwayne Wade or any of them to come play with him in Chicago because he's like not his personality.
Right.
He wasn't saying he didn't want him. He just wasn't going to be a cheerleader.
So, I mean, now I'm thinking about it because Justin Fields and Jordan Love, they practice together in the off season, and you hear that about so many. Yeah, you hear about that about so many different players. Like, but I don't know. Does it concern you that your quarterback is almost an outsider? I'm not saying he has to be best friends with all these people, but like there certainly is something to like the different connections and making connections around the league, I guess. But not necessarily that it makes you a better player. But I don't know.
I'm old school. I like it. I don't like how much. You see it in basketball too. Everyone's friends. There is that sort of like no competitive edge anymore. Again, that kind of gives off Rodgers vibes.
It reminds me a little bit of Giannis too, like not wanting to be friends with other guys around the league. I mean, look what Giannis did to Malik Beasley over the weekend.
True. And again, not that Caleb's international, but if you read this article, it's a lot about Caleb who spends most of his free time in Europe. He wants to buy a house. Like it's just kind of more of he is passionate about winning football games, being a great football player, but I don't know if his personal life, when he can step away, is about football.
That's interesting.
And then the last thing here, I'll ask you, he was asked for his best moment in the NFL so far. What do you think the answer was?
Well, before you told me the stuff about the Washington game, I was going to say when he was crushing it against them in the fourth quarter because he sucked the rest of the game. But I'm going to assume when he beat the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Oh, be creative.
Green Bay to me.
I'm just kidding. No, like no shade though. That was a lot of shade. But if we're talking no shade, that has to be a crazy moment to know that you're the first quarterback in God knows how many years. What was it? 11 games straight games,
I believe Matt LaFleur won.
If you're going to put it in context, at Soldier Field, he led the Bears on a drive for a game-winning field goal attempt. It was blocked. And then it looks like the Bears are done. Remember, they had the lead. Dale Johnson said, how are the Bears going to screw this up? DJ Moore fumbles the ball. The Packers score. The Bears get the ball back. Was it like the 30-yard line probably?
Something like that. They went pretty much the whole field.
Yeah, and so he got the late hit call from who was the player that did that to him? I forgot who it was for the Packers. They kind of horse collared him. I think what it was.
Yeah, I know exactly. I can picture him in my
So
mind.
that drew it, and he had the big throw to Roma Dunze. He had a big avoided sack that would have ended the game.
Yep.
He got that pass off. I think he made one more throw and then made the big-time throw to DJ Moore. Got up. Basically, all the demons that needed to be exercised from the entire year of failures in the fourth quarter were exercised, and he made the kick. So, yeah, beating the Packers.
And his last game of the season, everything.
If he had beaten the Vikings or the Lions or anyone in that situation with those circumstances, I think it would have been the same answer.
Yeah.
Like that team.
For sure.
All righty, that's Throwing
I'll
Stones.
have to read the article.
You can be a winner. Go be a winner at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. Millions of dollars are won every single weekend at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. Go be a winner at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly.
Who just who was that?
That was Molly.
Okay.
Molly's a snorter, and she makes weird noises when she laughs.
Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
Matt Hamilton here for Leinekugels, the craft beer that showcases a commitment to tradition and quality, founded in 1867 in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. No matter where I'm at, on the ice, on my boat, or if I'm just watching the big game, I always have a Leine's in my hand. Whether it's the refreshing summer shandy, the smooth honey vice, or my personal favorite, the juicy peach, there's a delicious flavor for every moment. Pick it up wherever you get delicious beer, but remember, you gotta be 21 years or older to enjoy.
Julie Granger is the president of Junior Achievement of Wisconsin. Julie, your organization has business technology from James Imaging Systems. Yet today, please tell us about Junior Achievement's unique mission.
Junior Achievement of Wisconsin has a mission of inspiring and preparing young people for success in a global economy. We serve students anywhere from kindergarten through 12th grade, and we just started serving young adults 18 to 25.
I understand financial literacy is also an important part of your mission.
Financial literacy is critical to the long-term success of every individual so that they can plan their futures and they can live their dreams.
To help turn those dreams into reality, how can everyone get involved?
We are looking for people who are willing to donate their time, treasure, and talent to the organization.
What's the first step?
The best way to reach us is through our website, wisconsin.ja.org.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
At Metro Ford of Madison, you pay what employees pay. Customers pay employee pricing on all in-stock new Ford vehicles. This month, drive away in the 2025 Ford Explorer with financing as low as 5.9% for 72 months, $16.53 cost per thousand borrowed. Or get the 2024 Ford Mach-E with financing as low as 0.9% for 72 months, $14.27 cost per thousand borrowed. Hurry! These offers end April 30th. Head to Metro Ford of Madison or visit metrofordofmadison.com today.
Looking to join an international quality golf club right here in Madison? Discover TPC Wisconsin, an instant classic in the heart of the Midwest. With a course co-designed by Steve Stricker and PGA Tour Designs, it's the 13th and newest TPC Network golf club in the world. Other high-quality amenities include a short game practice area, athletic performance center, and meeting and dining facilities, plus membership benefits that reach around the globe. Schedule a tour at tpcwisconsin.com and start your journey to a lifetime of priceless golf.
Hi, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network. Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's trusted name in home improvement, does more than just top-quality roofing. They're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows, too. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardie, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
Ridgetop Exteriors.
The 2015 Wisconsin men's hoops team gave us all a march to remember.
There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game.
On June 26th, enjoy an intimate celebration with the stars of the run with Made 'em Believe. Presented by M3 Insurance. World-class expertise and individual attention. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe, June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison. Brewers baseball is the sound of summer in Milwaukee.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it.
Oh, my goodness. Third down.
On April 15th, the Crew take on the Detroit Tigers at 6:40 p.m. This Brew Crew Tuesday is presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
It's Brew Crew Tuesdays. Check your local listings for where you can watch over the air statewide on April 15th.
Welcome back to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions.
Oh, yeah. Round and round they go. I get around.
Make sure to check out Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. Their Sizzle, Swizzle, and Swirl happy hour. Say hi to Lee and Kevin over there. You can get a great steak sandwich, burger, seared sashimi, an old-fashioned, Coors Light. Plenty of great options over at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton and their Sizzle, Swizzle, and Swirl happy hour. We have Brewers baseball coming up next. That's at 6:40 here on 6 o'clock. Pregame here on ESPN Madison, 6:40 first pitch. Brewers taking on the Tigers. Brewers 8-9, Tigers 10-6. The Brewers kind of just on an abysmal run, whether it's the bullpen or the starting pitching for the Milwaukee Brewers. Starting pitching let them down against the Tigers, and then the last two games has been probably, I think, a little bit more of a bullpen issue for the Brewers there. They're also not hitting, but...
Question for all you baseball fans out there, you two that I'm looking at right now.
I thought you were becoming a baseball fan this year, Molly.
I've watched a couple innings when we've done like watch-alongs in our office here.
I really thought she was about to say I've watched a couple games.
No,
innings.
Guys.
Yeah.
My goal for the season is to watch 10 games. That's 90 innings of baseball. I have 162 games to figure this whole thing out. I've got a long ways to go.
I'll say this, Molly. Check your local listings tonight, and you'll be able to watch the Milwaukee Brewers on one of your home stations as GKB partnering with the Milwaukee Brewers to have some games broadcast locally on your local, I believe, Fox broadcaster.
There you go. That's a good play. But my question is, at what point in the season do you start to worry about the Brewers' potential at, one, the postseason, and two, at postseason success? I mean, granted, postseason success for the Milwaukee Brewers is a different conversation, but at what point do you kind of get nervous, like, they're not looking too good?
All-star.
That's your marker?
I think that's the one. I mean, if, like, and I don't think anyone's going to. Chicago is, I think, in first place. They're 11-8, but they just lost their starting, probably their ace, Justin Steele. He's out for the year. They're 11-8. They are facing one of baseball's toughest schedules, so 11-8 with this tough schedule is impressive, but they are now going to be missing one of their better pitchers for the rest of the year. I did want to point out today is Jackie Robinson Day, so everyone will be wearing the number 42 to honor, obviously, the late, great hero that is Jackie Robinson. When you account for everything else he had to do, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, obviously as a player, a Hall of Famer, but he had to break that color barrier and deal with everything awful that was coming his way. So well-earned, everyone wearing number 42 tonight to commemorate his legacy on Jackie Robinson Day, and obviously a true American hero with Jackie Robinson. So as you're watching that game on local TV, and I'm sure they'll talk about it in the broadcast, I feel bad for the broadcasters with everyone wearing 42. That's going to be a little bit tough.
That would be hard. Is baseball the hardest sport to well, we were talking about announcers earlier in today's show.
Yeah.
But
cringe.
Is baseball like the hardest sport to be a play-by-play person for? Because I just feel like there's a lot of dead time during baseball that it's like, what do you talk about? Other than getting people's phone numbers in the crowd.
I didn't have a problem with that part of it. When I called it, it's hard to stay behind the play. Like for radio, you don't want, like for basketball and football, you can kind of stay with the play. Okay. So as it's happening, you can, quarterback drop back, looks left, pump fakes, throws deep, balls in the air, caught, whatever. Baseball, if you try to call a game like that, you're going to be wrong because it happens like the balls hit so fast or whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of more of, here's the pitch, you'll hear the crack, and they'll be like, hit down the left field line, and they'll drag it out, floating in the air, and so you have to kind of wait to see what the ball's going to do. You have to be like a half second behind.
Weird.
That was the tip given to me by the great Gabe Neitzel, but I believe that's how and maybe obviously as you get better, you might be able to call it a little bit closer, but no matter what, you want to be a little behind on it as opposed to being in front of it with or even on time with it, calling play-by-play. Right?
Yeah. I would say baseball is like that, but also like if you're talking about like dead time in a sport, like there's a lot of dead time in golf. There's not a lot going on most of the time. I mean, especially if you're calling or focusing on just one group that the commentary crew is following.
Oh, God, that'd be brutal.
That would be really hard.
Yeah. Well, I guess for the Masters, so like what they do is somebody tees off, then they go to a different hole and check in on that person, correct?
Yeah, that's where you can usually get the grace or the benefit of golf. There being a lot going on, almost like the transfer portal for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, do the Badgers have any players left?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You
gave Metro Kiev breaking news during the Sports Center. So Kevin Haywood, not in the transfer portal, but he has blown out his knee. He is out for the year, starting left tackle. They lost, or they're likely going to lose Tanner Koziel, the tight end they brought in the transfer portal. He'll never play a game for the Badgers. He is likely on his way out. I do see that Quincy Burrows, a wide receiver, who I think transferred in from maybe Cincinnati.
He was in there from Cincinnati. He and Will Pauling came together, and now Will Pauling is gone. And I know he and those two are very close, so it's not a huge surprise to see him going in the transfer portal this spring. But the big surprise was the one that happened during the show today.
Why don't you share that one then?
That was Mark Hamper, the FCS freshman All-American who transferred to the Badgers from Idaho. Was seen as, he and Koziel were probably the two biggest gets of the portal for the Badgers, or at least. I mean, we had talked about it on the jump round when it happened back in December. Like, we were very excited about it. And now it's like the two best ads from the transfer portal might be leaving before they ever play a game, like you said. Other than, I guess, the launch hasn't even happened yet. They won't even play in the spring game. And then on top of that, they're losing their starting left tackle, who is also seen as one of the likely going to be one of the better players on the team next year.
And that one's to injury, and that's a bummer. I will say, Luke Fickell did – and the receiver that you just talked about, less surprising because he'd been out with, quote-unquote, a family issue. So I don't know if there truly was one. He wants to get closer to home, or if he just didn't want to be at Wisconsin and he was sitting out because they came out. Like, that one we knew about. I didn't know Koziel wasn't at practice like the last week. But with Fickell, he said basically put on your big boy pants and play, and said you can't hold people hostage.
No.
So
that's what stinks about the spring transfer portal window is that all these guys get paid in December, and then it goes to the spring, and all these teams become more desperate to add extra players, and then now all the prices just increase, and guys can just go back in and get paid somewhere else twice in one off season.
Now again, just to get into the weeds on it, there is a something with the settlement that comes up in like. I think it's coming up here soon of like the actual settlement. If the judge, I think people are optimistic that will be accepted.
Yeah.
And then the settlement will then, in theory, clear things up in college sports.
It'll even the playing field where there's more money available to everyone with
like a salary cap and maybe contracts, possibly. But here's the interesting part. There's no negotiating body for the players, so this still is kind of very iffy. So I don't know when this is going to be solved, but hopefully the settlement that should be agreed upon here soon. But it's honestly like a third party came in and said, we think this is fair.
How long is it going to take?
The players have no representation, so I don't know how long this will hold up.
I just don't get why the NCAA doesn't just turn into like the NFL. Like, I get it, it's more than just football, but like, just structure yourself.
Just give them contracts. If you're listening to today's show, listen back on ESPN Wisconsin, the new app.
When it comes to security for your home and family,